Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another stream here on the channel. Today is a special stream. We are hosting the lead developer and owner of Mango Studios, Simon here, and we'll be sort of answering some questions, a bit of a Q&A session for you guys here today. I'll take a quick look at the flight before we go ahead and get started. So we are flying the Flight Factor A350 with Mango Studio sound pack, of course, and let me pull up Navigraph here and we'll brief the route. So we're flying out here from Miami, KMIA. We'll be departing 08 left and flying up north to Jacksonville here today. We'll be landing runway 08 on the ILS and the Poggy 2 arrival here. So let's go ahead and say hi to Simon then. Hello Simon. Alright, thank you very much for being here on stream here today. I know the viewers will definitely appreciate this. This will be a nice little insight into, how to develop these plugins and especially sound packs. Yeah, alright, so hey Calum, hi Nikki. Thank you Nikki, of course, for being a member on the channel. That DM2 badge is looking very nice. So, I'm going to go ahead and start the aircraft up, and in the meantime I'm going to ask, how did you get into flight sim and sound pack development? Oh, hang on, they can't they can't hear you. One sec. Alright guys, can you hear Simon now, if Simon speaks?
Hello? Hello?
Should be able to hear you now. Wait for confirmation. Let's give chat a second. Calum, Nikki, can you hear him? Yep. Alright, cool. So they can actually hear you now. So, yep. So what I was going to say is, how did you get into flight sim and sound pack development?
It was actually with the SSG 747-8, the V2, that I was really looking for a 747 that I really enjoyed to fly, and I actually bought it, but I was super disappointed with the stock sounds it had, so I just started looking into their sound folders and seeing what I could replace, like just simply by dropping in a new sound file, and that's it. And eventually I released it online. It was my first actually sound pack. It was on the X-Plane forums for the longest time. I think it still is there today, but it doesn't really work. And then eventually one of my friends got the Airbus A350 by Flight Factor, and I told him that if he doesn't like the sounds, I could probably do something for him to make the sounds better. And then after that, it kind of just took off. I started from making just simple sound file replacements, and then I had a buddy of mine that actually went out of his way to teach me Fmod, and after that it was just, it just followed like that. It was just, okay, let me do a sound pack for the 350, see how people like it, and then I released it. Did really well, and then I just started releasing more and more stuff that I could share with the people that are similar like me, that like, better sound mods for airplanes that they fly.
Amazing. And so obviously you started out with just replacing some sounds and time codes, and then got into Fmod and stuff like that. Was all that sort of, obviously you said a buddy taught you Fmod, but some of the more advanced stuff, was that mostly self-taught, or what kind of resources did you
Yeah,
use?
so when I say that my buddy taught me Fmod, he really taught me how to like get stuff into the sim, and then if I had a little bit of issues getting stuff into the sim, he would guide me in the right direction. And then whenever I had had nobody to really go to for an opinion, I just sent it to him, and he would tell me certain opinions about him, certain opinions about what he would hear and stuff like that. So, but most of the complicated stuff, like now we're in the midst of adding all the, like 3D effects for all of our sound packs, which means that when you get behind the behind the engine, instead of actually hearing the entire engine, even throughout when you're behind the engine and whatnot, you actually just hear the jet blast when you're behind it. And that was mainly just self-taught. Like it took me a while to get that down, but once I got it down, it gets pretty easy.
Amazing. Yeah, Caleb, yeah, that's my Discord pinging in the background. I can't do anything about that because we are obviously using Discord, but we'll just have to ignore that for today's stream. Let's start up the A350 here. Beautiful sounds. Might as well quickly show off the plugin here. So, for those of you who don't know, the Mango Studios sound pack does come with this plugin interface here, where you can enable and disable passenger noise, rotation noise, the 50 to 100 for call-outs, and the pitch sensitivity for the rotation noise as well. So it's really nice simple UI, you know, very, very easy to use. And also, if you guys do want to pick up any sound packs from Mango Studios, there should be a if you put !SP in the chat, it should give you a link to the Mango Studio store, and you can use my discount code DrishalMAC2 for 20% off. Which is very kind. They've been provided by Mango Studios for you guys. So next question then. What goes into the development of a sound pack, and what are sort of the biggest challenges that you must overcome?
Honestly, man, I think one of the biggest challenges to overcome is having the patience to do every single button and switch. You know, sometimes you get a little bit impatient with having to do, you know, you yourself see it, like me and Nikki go weeks testing buttons, making sure everything works right, and then even then we still miss some, and we have to add them later on. And it's just having the patience to do every single button switch sound individually. Lately we've switched to a different way of doing it, so it's actually easier and faster and just as effective, but even then it still takes quite a long time. You know, the engine stuff is pretty straightforward, pretty easy. You don't have to continue touching it so much once you have like a good one that you like. But the switches and the buttons and, you know, the covers and, you know, the button covers and, you know the dials and everything else that's in the cockpit is just super time consuming. It normally takes me around like a week or two to just do the buttons. Like when I first started doing this, it would take me like 2 months, 3 months just to do all of the buttons, because I was just new to it and I didn't know how to approach it. But now I've gotten better at it, so I cut it down from 3 months, 2 months to like at least a week, 2 weeks, which is still pretty long.
Yeah, I mean, looking at all these buttons in the cockpit. I mean, the thing is, half of them, especially in Airbuses, you know, we don't use. But then, I guess you still need the sounds for non-normal operations and stuff like that. So yeah, I imagine that the testing, and I do see it as well. It takes a long time, but you, Nikki, and everyone at Mango Studios do an amazing job. Put a lot of hard work into it.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I like doing streams with developers like this, because I think a lot of the work behind the scenes, obviously, consumers won't know about, and it sort of goes underappreciated at times. So just to highlight the amount of work and how time consuming it is to make these sound packs is yeah. So what about any future projects then? Is there anything you can talk about? Where's Mango Studios going in the future then?
Honestly, we at Mango Studios are like we're basically we're flight simulator enthusiasts in and of our own, so we're pretty open with what we're working on. As long as you ask us, we're not gonna obviously go out and tell people, but if you ask us what we're working on, we'll pretty much tell you. We're currently working on the MD-80 sound pack, which we have already gone public with. There's already a couple previews on our channel, and then we have the IXEG 737 that we also want to make a sound pack for. And I think honestly, I think we're also thinking about doing a couple more, but we'll see, depending on how many aircraft people want us to make sound packs for, because it takes a little bit of decisions to make, you know, what aircraft is worth to make a sound pack for. You know, we can't spend all our time making making a sound pack for every single aircraft out there, because, you know, it's just not worth it. And also we also have plans to integrate to eventually go off to MSFS, hopefully for the 2024 simulator. We're still working on X-Plane, of course, to get everything ready from X-Plane before we move on to that new sim. Obviously, it doesn't mean we're going to abandon abandoned X-Plane, but we're obviously gonna start expanding out to this new simulator to also provide some level of detail, improved level of detail on that simulator as well. And yeah, I think that's it, to be honest. We're pretty open, so if you guys just want to send us a DM or anything like that, we're pretty open. We don't really hide secrets. It's not really like a CIA operation or anything.
Yeah, that sounds good. Obviously, I've seen some of the previews and stuff like that, and yeah, it looks good. A lot of testing, presumably right now as well on these newer sound packs. TW Simulations, but sound pack for Tolus A320 family, please.
We are currently doing sound packs for the A319, 321, and 320 for the Tolus simulation for the Tolus family. It's just taking us a little bit of time. Honestly, I'm just taking my. It's been pretty much ready for the last 2 months. It's just little things that me and Nikki are nitpicking about. Just small things that honestly people probably won't even notice half the time. But we're just taking our time with it. Especially, we haven't even started the Neo engines. We've just done the CEO engines yet. The Neo engines have actually presented a challenge to me as a way of making engine sounds, because the Neo engines, instead of having you have idle whine and you have the spool, and then you got the growl at the end. The Neo engines don't really have a growl. They have more just a constant whine from idle. So it presents kind of a challenge to me and Nikki as well to try and find a good sample for us, so we can actually, represent the engines solely as how they are in real life. But at the same time, I've already come up with a couple test variants of it, and they're just not they're just not up to par. So as for now, we're not really pushing hard on the Tolus family until we have the Neo engines right on spot. But yeah, it all depends on how that goes, because we just want to release everything in one go. At least I would prefer to release everything in one go, so everybody could just have everything to enjoy, rather than just wait, have one variant and then wait, and then have to wait a couple months, and then you can buy it, and then have to wait another couple months for another variant. We'll see though.
Yep, sounds amazing. I've clicked something and my sim has frozen. Please don't crash on me. Oh, there you go. Okay, we've recovered. Perfect. That scared me for a second there. So I think you sort of almost touched on my next question, is how do you get the sounds for your sound packs, and do you have to go off to record them, or videos, etc.? How do you do that?
It's very complicated. If it's very old aircraft like the MD-80, it's really much a combination of finding videos online, reaching out to anybody or an airline that has it to try and get samples from them. And even then, I've reached out a bunch of companies. They rarely ever do get back to you. I do have an MD-80 at my flight school that they have just sitting there, and I've already requested access to it. They told me that in a couple months or in a couple weeks I could actually go into the cockpit and record all the sounds that I want. But obviously there's still the matter of waiting for that. So, and then if it really comes down to it, we'll search for videos online, see if what we can find there, and if we have access to like a plane, because I am a private pilot. I actually record some of the switches in the actual plane that I fly. So I think they sound good. So I just take them off this plane that I fly, and yeah, I think honestly, that's just the way to do it. As long as we get a good sound pack out there for you guys, I think that's the goal. Not really the way of making it, to be honest, is important to us. As long as the goal is met, the quality is met that we expect.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I have seen in the Discord videos, and I've seen sort of Nikki as well asking for, if people have videos of them on a flight, whatever, and a lot of people take videos of their landing, takeoff, and I guess all of those come in useful for maybe not actually using in the sound pack, but sort of comparing and making it as true to life as possible.
Yeah.
Right, so we're ready for pushback here then, so let's get that started. If I can find better pushback. There it is.
Ground to cockpit, please show me where you want to go.
So we'll push here, nose right,
Ground to
tail
cockpit,
left.
tow is driving up.
And we'll get back to some questions whilst we taxi here then. So we're all ready for departure. And we'll get the push and listen to those beautiful engine sounds as we start them up. Right, so it looks like the I've just noticed the overlay at the top
Okay,
of the
all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
the overlay at the top of the screen doesn't seem to want to work today, but that's fine. We could ignore that for now. I'll just get rid of it for today's stream. I guess I'll figure out why that's not working later
Nick
on.
here in the chat said, why do you choose X-Plane over MSF? Basically, when I started this, MSF wasn't a thing. So I don't know, like everybody, but like I started my flight simulator journey on the Steam Edition version of X-Plane. Sorry, not X-Plane, of my Microsoft Flight Simulator. But then eventually I moved on to X-Plane because it looked a lot nicer, it looked more realistic and whatnot. And then eventually I just started getting into X-Plane full time. And why did I start making sound packs for X-Plane is that it's just, in my opinion, I think the reason why we continue with X-Plane is because it's probably one of the best simulators. I think, in my opinion, one of the best simulators, if not the best simulator we have out there, in terms of realism, in terms of how much modification you could put towards your sim, how much you could just do with your sim. In terms of looks, some people compare MSF to X-Plane in terms of looks, but I feel like it's an unfair comparison because obviously MSF is gonna blow X-Plane out of the water 9 times out of 100, and it's just, the fact is that X-Plane it just flies a lot better, feels more realistic to me. So I feel like that's why I personally choose X-Plane over MSF. I feel like I love the realism about it. I love how it flies. I love how it doesn't feel arcadey to me. That's one of my biggest complaints about MSF. It's really arcadey, at least. It looks really pretty, but that's to me, in my opinion, that's all it has.
And you mentioned you're a student pilot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so do you use X-Plane as a training tool as well?
At least for now, since I'm on IFR, I already got my PPL. I do use X-Plane actually as a form to study charts and study how to do RNAV approaches and ILS approaches and all that stuff, and actually learn them more in depth. And yeah, that's pretty much how I use it. At least now, I just learn how to do. I'm learning how to. I already know how to do them, but I just learn how to. I learn them more in depth with X-Plane.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, look, I'm starting my PPL hopefully this summer, and I feel like because of the flight model in X-Plane, especially, when I'm starting out, the actual hand flying of the aircraft is going to be quite important. So the flight model in X-Plane is going to be much superior in that sense to Microsoft Flight Sim.
Yeah. I don't know, I've just flown Microsoft Flight Sim, and comparing it, like I actually flew their DA-20, the one that they have there, and compared it to the one that I used to fly, and it's just it's not there, man. It's the realism is just not there, to be honest.
Yep. When I did some gliding a few years ago, that was the first real experience I had of flying an aircraft properly in real life, and I thought, let's take this opportunity to really compare X-Plane and Microsoft Flight Sim in terms of flight model, based off my own experience. And yeah, X-Plane just absolutely blew it out of the water, to be honest.
Yeah.
But looks wise, it's brilliant, and I guess for some people it's
Operation
perfectly fine.
complete.
I mean,
Set parking
we can
brake.
get some pretty accurate systems in
Disconnecting
Microsoft
tow.
Flight Sim now. It's just
Standby.
the flight model that is not as realistic, but that might not matter to some people.
Yeah. I don't know. Some people prefer how the way the sim looks, but I feel like what makes a simulator is how it feels, not how it how it looks.
Yeah.
And X-Plane 12 really looks really good how it is, especially with Visual XP. I feel like it's really pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does take a lot more work to make X-Plane look as good as it does for some people, but it's interesting because so many, you know, people's sim look so different when you see in screenshots, and that's what I really love. You touched on it earlier, how sort of individual you can make X-Plane and really tune it to how you want it to
Tow
look
is
and
disconnected
feel.
and bypass pin has
Yeah,
been removed.
it's
Hand
awesome the
signal
way
will
that
be on the
X-Plane
left.
is
We'll
so
see you next
moddable
time.
the way that you
Have a
want to
safe
do. Some
flight.
people fly airliner, some people fly GA, some people fly T-plane, some people fly helicopters. I had a buddy of mine, all he would do is fly helicopters and stuff. And I've never met anybody that's flown helicopters that much in X-Plane, but he made it work and it was cool. Like he had a bunch of scenery, and it looked really cool.
Yeah, I've never tried helicopters in X-Plane actually. Well, not properly anyway. Be interesting for sure. I'd love to try helis in real life as well. Right, so we'll taxi on to runway. Check runway 08 left here, and get on our way to Jacksonville. Now, yep, I know it's it's a bit strange to be flying an A350 into Jacksonville, but I did a test sector last night and we got it slowed down on the runway, so it should be okay here. Maybe we won't ice up, because every A350 stream I've done so far, we have iced up. But this time should be alright. Okay, then. If we want, we can do a stream on helicopters. It won't go well, I can tell you that, because I can't fly helis at all. But we can do that for sure. Make a right turn here. Remember, guys, if you guys do have any questions for Simon, then do let me know in chat. Oh, and guys, let me know if you get ads like throughout the course of the stream, because I unlocked the ad revenue stuff, and I enabled ads on live streams, and I presumed that it'd only add them for, you know, once the stream's finished and people watching back, maybe like a regular video. But if it's giving you adverts when we're actually live, and then it means obviously you're going to miss out on stuff, then do let me know and I'll turn them off. YouTube don't make it very clear how those ads are put on live streams, so I don't want it to ruin the viewing experience for you guys. So another question, which I know is going to be quite popular, because a lot of people tend to ask this, is where did the name Mango Studios come about? How did you come up with that one?
Yeah, it's a funny question. I used to live in Venezuela with my grandmother. My grandmother had a huge mango tree that me and her would always eat mangoes off of. The mangoes would fall onto the ground. We would go pick them up. And yeah, mangoes have always had a special place in my heart because of that. Not only that, but they're the best fruit ever to exist. And anybody who says so otherwise can fight me. And I personally think that, I don't know, I just wanted to keep a little bit of an homage to my grandmother. and also because it's the best food around. And there's also a third reason. I think everybody in the flight simulation community, whether you're a developer, whether you made a Discord server or whatever, everybody has something related to something in aviation. You know, you got runway designs or something like that. You know, flight factor. You know, flight sim solutions. Something, stuff like that. You know, something always has to do with flight simulation or an aircraft part or the aircraft or air traffic control or whatever. Something has to do with aviation, which is understandable. It is when you're making a company for a aviation simulator. But I think I took it a step further, and I wanted to have a name that people would remember. And I feel like Mango Studios, I think it did the job, because I don't know. I don't think I've met one person yet that has forgotten the name Mango Studios.
It definitely sparks curiosity, for sure.
Yeah. I don't blame him.
It's nice that you sort of paid that homage to your grandmother as well. That's quite a nice, almost personal touch.
Yeah. She's still here, but I love her a lot, and I don't get to see her often because she's always in Venezuela.
Okay, so we're lining up runway 08 left here, and you know what we can do? We'll do a toga in external view, so we can hear these beautiful engine sounds here. So stop here, and just make sure we've got all our lights on. We'll set the wipers too fast, and I think we're good to go here. We've got flaps 1 set, we're on speed brakes, takeoff config is done. Alright, so we'll go toga and then we'll release the brakes and jump back into the cockpit. Alright, let's go. $80 knots. V1, rotate. Positive brake, up. Got a bit of a crosswind here, 12 knots from the right. We'll get those wipers off now. We'll go down to climb thrust. So I think Calum's put a question on the chat there.
How did I meet Nikki? Oh my goodness, you're gonna love this. How did I meet Nikki? So, I met Nikki during the time where I was not working at Mango Studios at all. I was working on graduating from high school, and this dude had he had joined the Discord server to complain about one of the sound packs, and he actually complained about it so much that I decided to give him a role as a beta tester, at least for the time being, so he could just give me some more advice on what to do and what to work on. That way, when I got back to it, I was able to hit the ground running hard and be able to get everything to a bit higher quality level. And then eventually me and him had a couple disputes. But then eventually me and him started working together instead of against each other, and then all of a sudden, started working a lot more, and everything started going really good for us. And then eventually I asked him, hey, can you help me? He was already helping out with a lot with the support, and I told him, hey, can you, I'll take you on as a team member. First couple months that he worked for me, I didn't pay him, but then he and he told me, hey, can you pay me a little bit? And I was like, you know, you help me a lot, so I started paying him, and then yeah, it's gone to the point where we are now that I trust him with basically pretty much everything. He's one of the few. He's actually the only person I've ever trusted with everything. I don't really trust that much with people with especially with my business and stuff. But honestly, he's been single-handedly one of the best contributions to the Mango Studios team. I don't think we would be anywhere where we are today without him, to be honest.
Yeah, Nicky does a huge amount of work, especially with all the support. I know there's a lot that goes on there, a lot of testing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy work, man. Like crazy, insane amount of work he does. Like he lets me, he does enough work to the point where it lets me focus on the sound packs completely, and that's something that I could. Oh my goodness, that's really, really helpful. I don't have to be switching between support and looking into problems and then having to work on the sound packs and, you know, complicating everything.
Yeah, I think it's great that it's funny how he started out with complaining, and then it was definitely a good decision to work together rather than against each other, and it's obviously paid off for sure.
Yeah, I was a little bit sussed out at first, but literally turned out to be the best decision I've ever made. Fully turned us around.
Hello Shipdub, how you doing? Welcome to the stream.
Ilum says, I feel bad for him handling the forum and Facebook complaints alone. Listen, Callum, you could do your own part too and help him out if you want to. I've already asked Nicky multiple times if he wants me to take someone else on to help him out, and he's like, nah, it's fine. And I'm like, alright, cool. So I feel like the day comes that he can't handle it anymore, he'll definitely come to me and tell me that he needs some help, and I'll definitely get take someone else on to help him out.
Oh, that's an interesting one, Caleb. Have you guys ever met in real life?
I've already offered him a couple times that to come to fly to Miami to come meet me and stuff, but he's always like, nah. So we have not met in real life now. Hopefully one day I'll fly to England and go eat some toast and beans.
Fish and chips or something.
Yeah.
Oh, Nicky, yeah, that's so true. The day you go, MSFS will need help.
Yeah, I think so too.
That will presumably bring in a huge amount of new customers with the player base of Marshall Flight.
I think for now the plan to sell our MSF products will be on Sim Market and our website. I don't think much more than that. Any builds does offer them to. They do offer them to sell on their website as well. So I think we're also going to do any build. But as far as the MSFS marketplace goes, I don't think we'll be doing that unless we get accepted for the marketplace, which we already did. I did the application well over a year and a half ago, so I can get accepted early and not have to worry about that. But I have yet to get a response from Microsoft from that. And Mini Builds I think they do 25%, and Sid Market does 25% as well of commission, and obviously we got 0% on our website, so I feel like we could just do it pretty good based off on those. I'll be happy with just those 3 websites for now, and then hopefully for MSF 2024 they'll actually get back to me. But I don't know, we'll see. So
if and when you do go to do some stuff for MSFS, what do you have any aircraft in mind that you'd be making sort of your first sound pack for, or will you have to see once the simulator comes out?
Honestly, at least for now, for the current simulator out there, I have a buddy of mine. I'm not sure if you know, but his name is Brady Margison. He's the owner of Sim Solutions, and he released a DA20 a while ago, a DA40, a DA20, I forgot what it was. I think it was a DA20. And I was thinking about doing like a free sound pack for his playing to just play around with the software for the time being and whatnot. And I was thinking, yeah, just releasing a free one for now, see how it goes. And then after that, once I start getting myself familiar with the software, because let me tell you now, the software for sounds for MSF is not user-friendly at all. It's like trying to decipher, you know, it's like trying to decipher another language while absolutely having no idea what you're looking for. And no, like we'll see. I think that the A20 first, see how I feel about it, and then we'll see what airliner we do it for first.
So is developing the sound packs for Microsoft Flight Sim massively different to explain? Is it all in the software that you're talking about them?
So I think comparing Fmod to the WY's program that they use for MSFS, it's not completely different. The idea is still the same. It's just the way of producing it is pretty much completely different. For Fmod, you have a configuration file that you start with. Oh, what's the name of the event? Where's the event going to be taking place? What starts the event? And that's pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. Microsoft Flight Simulator, it's a CFG file, which I've never really messed with before, and I'd be happy to learn it from scratch, and I really don't know how to do it, but I am inclined to learn as much as I can. But yeah, it is pretty much different. It is, a lot of stuff is different.
Do Microsoft offer any sort of support with how to get started with those things, or is it sort of a self-learning process?
They have a couple websites. They have a couple tutorials on their YouTube channel, but it's alright. So the tutorial that they have for Explain for Fmod, it shows you how to make one sound, and I don't remember the sound, but I think the sound was some random cockpit opening sound. But the problem is that when you're making sound packs, it's a lot more in depth than just making a cockpit door opening sound. You know, you got to do the engines, you got to do the systems, you got to do, you know, for example, if you have the Airbus, you have to learn how to do the PTU bark. You know, you have to learn how to do the flaps, you have to do the slats, you got to do, you know, the fuel pumps, the hydraulics of buttons and everything else. So it's just, how do I say it? So it's just in a way it's just a lot more, you know, it's just a lot more in depth to what you have to do compared to what they say on the tutorial. You know, like they tell you how to do one thing, but they don't tell you how to do the million other complicated things that you have to do to make an actual good sound pack.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot more to it than just just one sound. Presumably with engines, there's all sorts of, you know, fading and sounds different in different areas of the aircraft, and then flybys and, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sean, yeah, and I timed you out there because of the spam of the emojis. So that wasn't me. You're all good. Don't worry. Just don't put as many emojis in chat. But yeah, I'm good. How are you? We did hit 1K. I know the rest, everyone else can't see the chat, but we did hit 1K. So I did want to say a big thank you to all of you guys for that. That's I didn't really think we'd ever sort of get there when I started, and it's pretty nice to have finally hit 1K, and gives me a lot more motivation for more streams, videos, and stuff like that. That's for sure. But also, I think Mango Studios and everyone involved with Mango Studios, I do want to say a big thank you to you guys as well for, you know, providing all the sound packs to use on stream and helping promote the streams a little bit. And I think the partnership's been pretty beneficial on both sides, and I'm very, very glad I bought that first 767 sound pack and joined the Discord. I had no idea what it'd lead to, but yeah, I'm very, very glad.
Glad to have you on board. Have I ever thought about doing GA sound packs? No. Main reason is that it's not a big enough demand for us to actually do that. at least in my opinion, is just there's a lot involved to making a GA sound pack. It's not as so much in the way of switches and whatnot. It's more in the engine, because you have to mess around with RPM instead of actually having a jet engine that spools forward, just spools, and you could modulate the pitch and the sound to, you know, kind of create your own spool sound, your own whine sound, while the propeller sound is pretty much just straightforward, you know, high RPM prop, low RPM prop. It doesn't really change the pitch. A little bit the change of the pitch, but it doesn't really do anything else. So you have to have a lot of different samples for the RPM of the propeller. So it's not really something I thought of it within yet, to be honest. I think there's more demand for our airliner sound packs. But if I get enough requests for a GA sound pack, I'll definitely look into it, or definitely make one.
So I feel like we talk about it on every single stream, but the 777 V2 should be coming out fairly soon, hopefully. Now, do you guys plan to make a sound pack for that when it comes out, or?
Coincidentally, we actually, me and Nikki, I'm not gonna name who, but we know the person who is in charge of those sounds, and he's shown us a couple of the clips of what the sounds are gonna be looking like, and I think honestly he's done an absolutely amazing job for the sounds. So I feel like making a sound pack for it would be kind of redundant. You know, have to have really good sounds with other really good sounds. I feel like it's kind of like, you know, I feel like it wouldn't really be obviously if we get enough requests for it, we'll do it, but I personally feel like it won't be necessary at all. I feel like people are going to be satisfied with the sounds how they are, to be honest.
Okay, well that's good. I think that's made everyone even more excited for the 777 V2, so that'd be interesting for sure. But yeah, I mean, if the sounds are already, you know, as good as they say you are, then yeah, it's very true. No point making a sound pack for an aircraft which already has really good sounds, right? So
yeah, obviously we have yet to see what the what the sounds like are completely like. Me and Nikki haven't really seen the full extent of it, but obviously when the 777 comes out, I'm gonna be one of the first people to buy it as well. So I'm definitely gonna do my own evaluation on what the sounds are gonna sound like, and if I'm happy with them, honestly, I see no reason why we would make a sound pack, to be honest.
yep. And I think a lot of people have also asked about the Zebra 737, whether you guys would make a sound pack for that, but I believe, at least what Nikki said a few times, is that, you know, it's freeware, and it's a case of whether people would, you know, buy a sound pack, a payware sound pack for a freeware plane.
Yeah. Sound pack for the 777 V1. No. The load up error message for the 757/76 sound packs, they're already fixed on our developer side. It's just that it's more, at least for now, we're taking our time with adding the 3D sound effects, and we're also fixing a couple of other bugs that have been that people have complained about. So that's already been fixed. It was pretty easy fix, but we're just it's just a lot of other things that we're doing to those two sound packs to actually be able to release them. And but 757 is pretty much done. 767 is also pretty much done. So you guys could expect those two updates to be coming out before the end of the month for sure. Like they'll be published and ready to go before the end of this month. Don't worry.
So obviously the most of your sound packs you constantly still update. You know, we had the A350 V2 sound pack come out last year, and 757, 767 upgrades as well. In the future, you know, maybe 1-2 years in the future, how do you plan to continue to improve the sound packs? Is there any new I don't know, technologies such as FMOD or a new version of FMOD maybe that you'd be looking to integrate?
I think in the terms of FMOD, I don't feel like there's going to be anything to improve on that side, but I feel like new features and better samples is the best way to update a sound pack. If you look at our 767 or 757 sound pack, like when we first released it compared to now, it's completely different. I think actually if you go on our YouTube channel and you look at our release trailer compared to the one that we actually had, it's a completely different sound pack, from the battery sounds, from the generator sounds when you turn on the external power or the APU, or you just have a generator online, to that sound, to the switches sounds. Everything's completely different. We actually I went out of my way to change absolutely everything, because I was not happy with the way that everything was being updated for the 757. The Flight Factor was going crazy with 757 updates, 767 updates, and I felt like our 757, 76 update sound packs definitely needed some love. So we went ahead and changed a lot about that. And in terms of anything in the future, we are planning to add to all of our sound packs passenger door sounds, and as well as more. We're actually planning to remake the gear roll sound. So when you're accelerating down the runway, or you're just taxiing, you'll get a lot better of a sound. When you're taxiing or anything, the gear thumping, you're sooner or later we're gonna revamp those for all of our sound packs, and all of our sound packs are gonna have door opening sounds and for the cabin and whatnot. And yeah, I think honestly that's one of the things that we could improve upon. And me and Nikki have actually been planning on adding it. We actually talked about it this week but I actually told him that we needed to delay it a little bit because of how much we have on our plate. And we're still gonna add it hopefully by the end of this year to all our sound packs. This should be a pretty easy integration, and should be one well worth our time.
That sounds amazing. I'm liking the sound of those those upgrades.
Yeah.
Hello, Dave. Welcome to the stream again. There's a pretty cool question here. So it says FF needs to correct the engine startup sequence in the 767 unrealistically fast. Do you have to take that into account in your coding in the sound pack?
Yes. So just like the 767, and we had to take it into account when we did the E-Jets and the ERJ sound packs, that the moment you flick on the engines to start, they start up to like something ridiculous like 90% and 2. And I think it definitely something we had to take into account when we did the coding for that. Mind you, it was still pretty relatively easy. It's just that instead of it being based off the N2, we made it based off when the engine was burning fuel or not. So it was a pretty cool way to integrate our sounds, integrate the correct sounds and the good sounds, without having to change pretty much anything except the actual start condition of the F-mod event. So yeah, we just did it based off the N2, and instead of being based off the N2, we have it based off whether the aircraft is burning fuel or not.
Oh, that's a pretty smart workaround.
Yeah. Obviously, when it comes to the 767 and any plane that has that type of unrealistically fast start issue, it still does mess with our sounds a little bit. Like if you listen closely enough, you'll listen to, we have drown motoring sounds. Yes, if we correct it, we will follow. But if you listen to our sounds, at least for the drown motoring sounds, they turn on very quick. I'm not happy with that, but sadly I can't really do much in that department. But the main engine start sound, the one where you hear like the actual fuel being introduced, yeah, that's the one that we actually got down pretty good.
So obviously all these aircraft, lots of different developers. You've got Tolis, Flight Factor, Rotate. Presumably in terms of things like data refs and how they've built the aircraft impacts how you will build the sound pack. Which developers do you think have built their aircraft in a so it's easier for you guys to make sound packs, which is the most sort of friendly?
Honestly, I would say Rotate. The Rotate aircraft. Honestly, the developers of Rotate actually gave me their list of data reps for their alarms and their TCAS alarms. And honestly, they asked me to send a copy of my sound pack over to them as well. And honestly, like, Rotate they are probably the best developers I've worked with. Solus, I would say, is on the harder end of the spectrum. Their data refs are a lot more complicated. I asked for their help one time, and I already got pretty much ignored when it comes to that, so I had to pretty much figure everything out on my own, with no help on their side. So yeah, I think Solus is probably one of the harder developers to make sound packs for.
It's interesting to hear Rotate how helpful they've been
Yeah,
with you guys. And
yeah, they're sick people. I think Ivan was the one that helped me. Super nice dude, awesome man. He actually gave his blessing for our PW 4000 mod as well. He asked for a copy of it as well. Honestly, I think Ivan is one of the super nice guy. Super nice guy.
Yep, the first Rotate product I got was the MD11 in just December last year, and especially paired with the sound pack and the PW mod and all of that, it really surprised me at just how good that aircraft is, and it's quite user friendly as well. Like, just things like the click spots I found with the switches are really easy. I mean, especially with the aircraft we're in right now, the A350. I know it's old, but some of the click spots are really weird, and sometimes makes it difficult to manipulate some stuff. But with the Rotate, I found it's very easy. It's something I noticed straight away.
Yeah. Rotate aircraft are one of the best, if not the best add-on aircraft, to be honest, that you can have. Their MD-80 blows everything out of the water, to be honest. I love their MD-80.
Yeah, I'd be looking at that MD-80 just for those reverses. I mean, those bucket reverses are so cool.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't get any of those in Europe, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, I got a couple. I got one that comes down here to Miami. There was actually two, but one of them, I don't know if you guys have seen that, but he actually crashed on the runway, caught on fire and everything. Horrible, tragic loss for the MD-80. Nobody was hurt, but still hurts to see an MD-80 go out like that. One of my favorite, if not my favorite plane. Hopefully I'm lucky to fly one day. Lucky enough to fly one day. I really hope I am. I love that thing. I just love that thing. Love the way it looks. Love the way it. Just love everything about it.
Well, I think we might have to pick it up and get it on the stream at some point.
Definitely. The trim is a little weird. You gotta play around with the trim when you're on landing. The other day I slammed, like after a 3-hour flight, I slammed it on the ground because I didn't have the proper trim set up. But it's definitely, I think honestly with our sound bag, I think it is definitely more worthwhile add-on. Really happy with it.
And yeah, with the recent news of the Flight JSIM 732 and 727, are there plans for sound packs for those aircraft?
Honestly, the FJS aircraft, their sounds are so incredibly good. I have never even thought about it. You know, it's like one of the aircraft that are like, okay, cool, like, you know, I could actually enjoy it without having to be so picky about the sound.
Right. See, I think it's quite interesting that also at the core of it, you are a flight sim, and you still be, you know, flying this aircraft. You're not just there for the development side, but you do fly the aircraft, and I think that helps because you see stuff from the perspective of the consumers and us flight simmers, which I suppose really helps as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Mainly, at the end of the day, what I look at it in the way of flight simulator enthusiast. You know, I don't, you know, the developer comes second.
So in terms of your real life plan, we have touched on it a little bit. How did you get started with your real life plan? You said you've done your PPL. What are you currently doing, and what are your future plans?
Yeah, so currently I got my PPL done like 3 months ago. I got into it actually because when my family and I first immigrated here from Venezuela, I was really into planes. I loved it. I loved planes. And, like, yeah, I was just so into it. I was like, yo, that's so cool. I want to fly one day. You know, and I think honestly, I'm currently doing the IFR course for my school, and I think honestly it's pretty intense. I got done with my PPL and I'm going on to my IFR. I'm currently on my IFR. It's a lot of knowledge. It's easy. It's just a lot of knowledge. You gotta do everything step by step, pretty much. It's just you gotta be attentive. Hopefully I go onto an airline one day, which is what I hope to do. Obviously I got a lot of stuff on my plate. I got college, I got Mango, I got you know, on top of that I got flight school, I gotta do my written exam. It's just a lot of stuff that I gotta do, so you know, and I'm trying to base everything equally so I'm not too focused on a singular one. But yeah, I hope to hopefully become a commercial airline pilot one day and hopefully get some good samples for to continue making sound packs.
And well, good luck to you. Hopefully maybe we'll see each other in the skies one day if we both do get to that airline status. But if you were to go airline, what aircraft would you want to fly?
Unrealistically, I hope to fly the MD. Realistically, honestly, I probably want to go up to a cargo airline. I really love the MD-11s. But honestly, I don't care what I fly as long as I'm able to come home, you know, to my family. That's why I think that's most important. I know it's a pretty unrealistic thought, but I've had a couple buddies of mine that have already become airline pilots and are currently airline pilots, and they tell me they're able to come home every night. That's what I want. So as long as I'm flying any plane commercially for an airline, making a good amount of money, I think that's what I want. No matter what plane I fly, I think I'll be happy with just those two conditions, that I'm able to come home at night and see my family.
Yep, I sort of feel the same way there. I don't want to be away from home, away from family for too much, but I do want to fly. So, you know, I'll also get asked, well, what do you want to fly? What aircraft do you want to fly? But in all honesty, I have preferences, obviously, but I just want to fly anything and everything, really.
Yeah, honestly, like I think honestly, as soon as we step into like whatever airplane we get, you know, assigned to, I think we'll still be happy to be able to be flying one.
Yeah, especially at the start of your career, you sort of just got to take
like,
what
wow.
you get. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, one day I get to try to fly the 787 though. That's pretty much. I really love that one too. That one too. 787 is peak. Really love that thing.
Yep. I've been longing for a 787 and X-plane for a long time. I'm really stuck using the Microsoft Flight Sim version, which is okay,
Yeah.
but the flight model, I don't think I'll ever get used to it. So I'd love.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the Flight Factor one, but I think we got
Yeah.
a long time till that releases.
Hopefully they release it this year, next year. I can't. I really don't want to wait another year.
Okay, I knew you were going to say the 777. I think we all could have guessed that. Yeah, that's a crazy plane. It's great. I feel like I'd like to start, you know, obviously, it starts small, 737, A320, something like that. But I feel like I'd like to switch. So if I start on the 737, and then if I go to something bigger, I'd want to switch to Airbus. And if I start on the A320, I'd want to switch to a bigger Boeing, just to experience the two different, you know, flying cultures, as it were.
Yeah, instrument is the hardest, man. It is pretty up there.
So did you get into flight sim before or after you started your in real life training?
Way before. Way before.
Right.
Yeah, way before. I started flying when I was 15. And I got into flight simulation one day when I was actually on the same channel. To like a year ago, you could actually see like I used to play this Skirmivic combat simulator, which was called 1946, and I love that simulator. That's pretty much it. Like I used to fly when I was 11. I would fly it on my laptop, my dad's laptop with a joystick. The Logitech one that was like $30.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what I would just do all day. Like throughout the summer, I would just fly every day, and I just love it. I'd make YouTube channels and if I got shot down, I would record it, and, record how like me crashing and stuff. It was cool. That's how it was,
Have you ever got into DCS?
I have. DCS is a lot more involved, so I don't fly it more than I don't because I feel like DCS is a lot more involved than X-Plane, to be honest. Like you really have to be, you really got to learn the system. So X-Plane is you don't have to learn the system. You don't have to learn the systems so much to the point where like it actually limits you. But on DCS, you have to know them if you want to be able to like properly play the game. If you want to shoot people down, if you want to do all that stuff. If the helicopters, you just gotta learn how to do it. You gotta learn how to turn on the plane by from cold and dark, and for every single plane that's different. So like it takes a little bit while on X-Plane it's just battery, APU or GPU, and then just start the engines that way. It's honestly, I think X-Plane is just better for me because I also prefer civilian airliners.
Yep, I've always been more into the civilian airliners, but I've heard very, very good things about DCS, and I'd love to properly get into it, but it's very time consuming.
Yeah, very time consuming.
But I've seen videos on YouTube, and the guys that are really into DCS are really, really into DCS, and they really know their
like the back
stuff.
of their hand.
Yeah, absolutely. When they talk about, a lot of them are into their F-18s and F-16s, and when they talk about it, it's like, wow,
wow.
They know just as much as the real pilots.
Yeah.
If not more. So would you say that all the flight sim you did before your real life training, would you say that helped? Where in
It
particular
definitely
did it
helped
help?
a lot. It definitely helped a lot. I'll tell you right now. I think honestly, I think one of the best decisions I've ever made was to actually fly a lot of flight sims before going to flight school. I think flight simulation is one of the best ways to save money in your flight training because you're able to get it down super quick.
Yep, I'm hoping the years and years of flight sim will help keep the costs down a little bit for me as well. So I know there in the US a common thing is for pilots to, because of the 1,500 hour rule for the airlines, I know a common thing is to go and do a instructor rating and then become a flight instructor. Is that something you'd look at doing possibly, or?
Currently, I'm more focused on actually there's a small airline down here called Tropic Airways. They fly small Cessna 208s seaplanes to the Bahamas and Bimini and whatnot, and they actually hire at 250 hours. As long as at least that's what I saw last time I looked at their applications. But you obviously need to have your commercial seaplane license, which takes like 2 days to get, and then you have to have your commercial, your instrument, and all that stuff. But honestly, that's the way I want to go about things. I want to go straight into this airline, hopefully. Obviously, we'll see how it goes, but that's my plan for now. Obviously, I could always I always have the backup. My current backup plan if I don't get accepted for the airline, I'm gonna become a flight instructor. But for the time being, I honestly think I'm gonna be focused on the airline to apply for that little airline. Hopefully, go there.
Oh wow, that sounds pretty cool, flying seaplanes around Florida and the Bahamas and stuff. That sounds like a dream.
Yeah.
There was a flight school I was looking at here in the UK a few years ago, and they actually, all the ground school is done here in the UK, and then you actually come out to Florida to do all the actual flying. I think it was near the space station.
Cape Canaveral around there?
Yes, yeah, that's it. It was somewhere around there, and they said that once you get your PPL, instrument rating, all of that stuff, then instead of going and doing the becoming a flight instructor, they actually let you fly with their own sort of in-house airline that they've got, It's a small airline. I think it wasn't Buzz, because that's the European Ryanair airline, but it was something similar to that operates smaller aircraft down there, and I thought that was a pretty cool way of getting your hours up rather than flight
Pretty cool.
instructing.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, they're 2Fly Pro Pilot is the flight school.
Pretty cool. I've never even heard of that program, to be honest.
I don't know whether they still do. This was about 4 years ago, before COVID, so not sure whether they still do that or not.
Well, I mean, we'll see. COVID pretty much ruined everything, so.
Yeah. It was sort of one of the reasons I ended up coming to university first, just because the market, especially in the UK and around Europe, the market for pilots just wasn't there. I had a few friends that went off to flight school. They've now finished and are really struggling to find jobs. It's been almost 2 years since they got their ATPL and all that, and still can't find a job, so it's difficult right now in the UK.
Ape Air? I've never really heard of them.
Oh, nice. Thank you, Dave. That's nice information there.
I'm gonna Google them right now.
So we're descending through 15,000 here, just not too far away from Jacksonville now. And yeah, I just scheduled our 1,000 subscriber special stream, so that'll be tomorrow at the same time, 1800 Zulu. And we do have a huge giveaway tomorrow. We'll be giving away the Tolis A320neo, the Rotate MD-11, and the Just Flight Duchess for those GA flyers, all facilitated by the X-Plane store, so big thank you to them. And another question here. With the introduction of X-Plane 12.1, do you think that in terms of sound packs that's going to make much of a difference to anything? Do you think it'll possibly change any sound packs, or do you think it'll sort of remain untouched?
I think honestly it'll remain untouched. What we look for mainly in the updates is if they've changed anything having to do with landing gear physics, because we have quite a bit of sounds that are based off landing gear physics. So as long as they haven't changed much with that, it pretty much all remains the same.
Right. So did 1208 cause?
Yeah, 1208 did cause some issues, but nothing that it couldn't really be rectified super easily with the change of a value. But it's still something that we had to go back and look at and like double check, and just a little bit more time consuming.
Right. Yeah. Do you get early access to the updates from X-Plane, or do you just have to wait until it's public?
I think. Let me see. I think I do get early access to the updates, but I'm not entirely sure because I don't update the sim unless like there's a published update. Because those are the main ones that I really focus on. But the published updates are the ones that are more like more worrying to me. But I really don't look much into the beta updates unless it's like a huge one that changes like the simulator itself,
Right. Yeah. What about in between X-Plane 11 and X-Plane 12? Was there any big differences there, or?
The main one, I think it's X-Plane 12 did change the way Fmod worked in the terms of if we had any, because what we used to do before with X-Plane 11 was that if there was a buggy sound, we would just kill it using the SND file, and we would just stop it, meaning we would just have no event starts and no event end conditions. With the integration of X-Plane 12, those are the errors that would come up when people would start complaining about them, send me logs and stuff. Those are the errors that people would come up with and tell me, hey, there's an error here and this, here that, and I would like, all right, like those are the errors of the events that don't have anything, you know, working with them, because we just killed it to avoid any issues, you know. That took us a while to figure out how to fix it, especially because there were other developers that were, you know, other sound developers that were dealing with the same issue. I know BSS dealt with it, and I know there was another developer that was dealing with it. Magnite's also been dealing with it, but it took us a little bit to figure out how to fix it. But other than that, it was, after we learned how to fix it, it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I know that that was a fairly sort of big topic. A lot of people were sending, I guess Nikki had to deal with all of those, but you know, sending in the issues and going, oh, I've got this error, so. In terms of other sound developers, then, do you ever work with any other sound developers, you know, for issues such as this, sort of collab with each other and combine resources? Or?
So we did actually for this A350 sound pack. What's his name? KOSP, KOSP was more the one. He was actually the one that did them. We were just we were actually pretty busy with everything else, and he's a good friend of mine. So I reached out to him and I told him, hey, could you? He offered to actually do them for us, and I think Nikki was the one that actually got him to do it for us. And after that, he actually was the one that did it for us. But as far as collabs, I think that's the most collab-ish thing that we've ever done. We try to keep everything in-house, so there's no issues of later on people wanted to take it, you know, people wanting to take credit, and you know, people wanting to have get a split of anything. You know, it's just not something that we really want to do. BSS really does. He really does not like any of us in the terms of sound packs. Like, he doesn't really like me, or he doesn't like KOSP or any other sound developers. We don't know why. He just he just doesn't really you know, like us, I guess.
But it's nice that you and KOSP sort of did work together a bit, and I suppose help each other out here and there. But at the end of the day, it's separate businesses, and I think getting too involved in reaching out and, you know, with the collabs, I think you're right that keeping everything in house keeps things simple, I guess.
Yeah.
Less issues down the line. I did generate ortho for the area, but it doesn't look like we're gonna. I know. I don't think we're going to see much of it, to be honest. Yeah, Caleb, it is a big giveaway. I reached out to them, and they were really, really nice about it, and gave you know, the channel for me to then give away to you guys a lot more than what I was expecting. So a big thank you to those guys. Hi Sam, welcome to the stream. The process to enter the giveaway. The giveaway isn't on this stream, it'll be on tomorrow's stream, and I'll explain all of that stuff tomorrow. But it'll essentially just be just putting a message in chat. But I'll explain all that tomorrow on tomorrow's stream. Yeah, so it's the A320neo from Tolis, the MD-11 from Rotate, and then the Just Flight Duchess as well. I essentially picked some of my favourite aircraft and some of the best, and I know the ones that my viewers will enjoy. I thought I'd better add the Duchess in there for GA flyers as well. Yep, Caleb, you can enter for the Duchess, absolutely. I'll be running them separately, so it'll be 3 different winners. Oh yeah, and the Duchess is brilliant for GA flying. I streamed it, what was it, about a month ago now, and had a real Duchess pilot on the stream in the chat as well, and he was sort of confirming that the aircraft was behaving accurately, and I think the flight model on it is very, very good. Right, so I think we're going to slow down here a little bit, about 220 for now. It's just a pretty tight turn there. In fact, we'll go straight down to 180, I think. All the brakes are set. We'll go brake, auto brake 3. It's perfectly fine, and arm the speed brake. And everything else is looking good. Other than the weather. So from the sort of laminar research side, what would you, if you could, you know, ask Laminar to implement one thing on the development side to help with the development of sound packs, what do you think you'd ask them to do or change?
I feel like if they had honestly, now that I think about it, I feel like there's one bus on the X-Plane 12 volume sliders that's called exterior unprocessed. Sorry, exterior processed. And I don't use that slider for the very reason that that when I do put sounds to it, the sounds come out muffled. I'm not sure if that's my fault or any of the sort, but I played around it for the longest time, and it muffles any of the sounds that I put on that slider. So I feel like if they managed to unmuffle that slider, I feel like it gave me a lot more control of what sounds I could make you guys listen to when you open a door or not. Right now, that's the other thing we're planning on implementing. When you open a door or a cockpit window, you'll hear all the exterior sounds being played in the cockpit or in the cabin. But it's just it takes a lot of playing around because of how everything is set up, you know, with the in terms of how the X-Plane, the default X-Plane sliders are set up. It's just that one slider being muffled kind of limits me to what I could put on that slider, limiting me what I could put on that slider. If you know, it's a little bit complicated, but if they could fix that muffling issue, that'd be perfect for me. so I can actually have more sounds on the exterior sliders and the exterior stuff without having any like kind of like conflicts between them.
Okay, grab your parachutes. Welcome to the stream. Glad to see you here. Multiplayer, yep. I think X-Plane did say they are working on some sort of multiplayer, but no idea how close that is. Got flaps 3 gear down here. Speed brakes again. Wow, visibility is really, really poor here. But we do get a little glimpse at the orthos I generated earlier. Right, so that's localized. We have captured glide slope. That's good. And we'll capture localized in just a second. Aircraft actually handled that turn fairly okay. We'll slow down to final approach speed as well, which is 133. Just about to see the runway there. Right, wheel flaps full. And we'll turn the wipers on. Alright, so nice stable approach here.
1000.
Yeah, we'll disconnect the autopilot. And hand fly the aircraft in. It's very dark, struggling to see the runway here.
500. 400. 300. 200. 190, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Alright, fly the nose wheel down. Reversers are out. Wasn't a bad landing, we were just about in the touchdown zone, didn't want to float it. And we're manual braking, stow the reversers. Yep, Dave, I'm wondering the same thing. Don't know where the runway lighting's gone. I suppose because it's not actually night in the sim, it's just really dark. So the overcast. Maybe that's why. But yeah, struggling to see the runway there. Yeah, we don't have terminal building. Lovely. That's interesting. I know what I've done. I added the ortho, and ironically I haven't changed the INI file. I was wondering why my FPS was so good. We don't have buildings. You know, there's something with the flat factor A350. It's cursed. Every time on stream, something will go wrong. But that's fine. Didn't take away too much from the actual stream. We'll just ignore the fact that there's no buildings here. Yep, absolutely, Sam. It's a little bit of a short runway for the A350, so I really didn't want to float it. But -2, was it? -225 isn't bad either. It's fairly standard. Yeah, Dave, you have a better eye than me. I didn't notice it until we turned towards the terminal building. So I was like, oh wait, there's no airport here. Nope, that's completely on me. I didn't edit my INI file after I put the orthos in. I've made the same mistake that many people come to me on the Discord with issues. And it's generally an issue with the INI, and I've made the same mistake, so there you go. But we can also go, probably put the flaps up and so the speed brakes here. And we'll just park over here, directly in front of us, get all the lights turned off. Get the APU turned on as well. This parking stand is definitely not big enough for an A350, but that's fine. Well, we'll just park it there. We'll take a look at the replay in just a second. But just get the aircraft all switched off here. So wait for the APU to start. Actually, you know what? We'll just go ahead and kill the engines. Kill all the lights. It is off. Alright, and we'll just get all the bats off. It's a very, very quick. Okay, yeah, hit Mango Airlines each packs. Needs to pay $10 for one-way lights, 20 for buildings. Right, anyway, let's go ahead and look at the replay. You know, yeah, I was really wondering. I was like, why is my FPS so good? It's like 50 FPS on final approach there, but yeah, there's no buildings, so that would explain that. Just past the touchdown zone, but not too bad. Listen to little sounds. Beautiful. Take a look at a few more angles here. Very nice. Glad the runway's here at least. That would have been a problem. Mango's pay where scenery when. Nikki, you're giving yourself more work. Right. Take a look at some wing views here. Beautiful. All right, well, that's gonna conclude the stream there. It's a very enjoyable flight, and thank you to Simon for coming on stream, and it was really, really great. Really enjoyed that.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And do remember, guys, if we put exclamation SP in the chat, it'll take you straight to the Mango Studios website. And if you do want to pick up any of their sound packs or maybe even the engine mod for the MD-11, then do use my discount code DrishalMAC2 for 20% off. And yeah, thank you to Mango Studios again for giving my viewers that discount code. I know a lot of people have used it, so very, very appreciative.
Yeah, awesome.
Some says, one thing about the FFA 350, even the smoothest landing makes you look like you absolutely, yeah. You have to flare at like 50 foot. It's very, very unresponsive. So I believe it was over responsive in X-Plane 11, and in X-Plane 12 it's under responsive. So it takes a bit of getting used to. Oh yeah, they are on sale right now as well, the sound packs. So the discount code won't stack on top of the sales. But that's fine. If they're already on sale, then you guys are already getting a great, great deal. So yeah, we'll conclude the stream there. Hope everyone enjoyed that. Another big thank you to Simon. And also I want to say thank you to Nikki as well. He's been great, been very supportive the whole time we've been working with Mango Studios. So I think without him, we might not be where we are as well. So big thank you to Nikki. And conclude the stream there. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.